So I'm now joined by the promoter and team manager of the Team USA team, Steve Evans, as we look ahead to a couple of weeks' time where we host the USA versus Team GB International Challenge meeting. Steve, thanks for joining me.
Appreciate you having me.
So, you've put together this meeting, something a little bit, it's quite a big project that you've put together to have hosted on American Shale. Where did the idea come from, and how has the process been of putting this together?
Well, I think this has always been in the back of my mind ever since becoming part of Team USA management in 2012. We've, you know, I grew up in England watching Speedway when test matches were a common thing, and England or GB would race against the likes of Denmark, USA, and Sweden, Australia, and they were just amazing matches. And because my favorite riders were Americans, I was cheering for the American team long before I ever knew I would ever be involved with the American team. So to bring this to the USA is a big deal, and it's kind of like it's a personal speedway dream of mine.
And you've got some really good riders lined up. You've got a Grand Prix rider in Dan Bewley for the GB side. You've got a former British champion in Adam Ellis. You've got junior British champions as well, Leon Flint, and the like. It's a very potential filled GB team, but it was also a case of trying to balance it so it's evenly matched between the two teams.
Yeah, I mean, the British team is the team that Rob Painter, the CEO of Team GB, chose to bring over. We didn't choose the team for them. Obviously, there are riders that we asked that, not everybody is available during the off season, but even some of the names that aren't on this year are interested in maybe doing it in the future. But the thing is that every one of the British team is a full-time professional speedway rider, that their job is to race speedway on some of the top teams in Britain and around the world. So whether all of the names are familiar to the American audience or not, any of these riders on the British team could win an American meeting any day of the week. So it's got quality. We're going to have our work cut out to beat them.
And you had a few of these riders over on US Show last winter as well. Dan Bewley, Tom Brennan, Leon. They were all out there doing the rest of the world meeting, I think it was. So it'll be good for the American fans to see those riders back as well.
Yeah, Adam Ellis too came in 23. So four of the British team have raced the track, know the track, and we're all extremely tough to beat. So they have some potent top end power. And again, the event is it's really its main purpose is to bring international speedway to America and to give our team an absolutely tough, brutal, hard race. In a typical American meeting, you can sometimes look at your program and you know that Max Rummel and Brock Nickel, unless there's a mechanical issue, are going to make the main event and are going to be on the podium every single meeting. I think Max made every single final last year and won plenty of them. So a rider like Max, for example, absolutely amazing rider, but to put him against some tougher, newer, competition, it's good for him and it's good for our program in America.
And you're taking a step back from managing for this one as well, letting Lawrence Rogers manage. Was that something you've discussed between you, or is it just you can focus fully on promoting the event then?
Yeah, I've got way too many balls in the air to be also managing the US team that day. And we're using the British League format, and Lawrence has managed probably about 3 million meetings in British Speedway over the last 200 years. So he's certainly a qualified man to do the job. And we've got a couple of the guys that were running the world team last year for us, American based, Philip Harmatuck and Paul Hitchcock. They're going to be his assistants. So our team management is very strong for strategizing and organizing. And of course, Great Britain are bringing over Ollie Allen, an accomplished former speedway rider himself, as their team manager. So we're not just getting seven riders, but they're bringing three of their management team over. So it's gonna, this is a step up. The USA World races that we did the last 2 years were definitely the best and most ambitious events we've ever done. And bringing over an entire national team is a huge leap above that. It's a whole different level to anything we've ever done.
And people are looking at this meeting, obviously, you read the comments online, people are thinking, oh, the Americans are just going to get beat on home shale. But American riders race this place a lot that we don't see. So it's not quite as cut and dry as you'd maybe think. You know, people are thinking you're going to get absolutely beat, but this is a small cog of a bigger picture.
Yeah, I think with the depth of the British team for the first time since we did international events, we're going in as the underdog. Um, we do have home track advantage. We do have small track advantage. Of course, the British team are all on equipment that we're providing for them. No one's bringing over their own stuff, but we've got them. Every one of the bikes they have is a top of the line race winning bike. And they do get to practice on the Friday as well. So no one's going into the meeting trying to figure out to set up their bike and to figure out how to race a small track. But again, the race will be what the race will be. If if USA wins, it's going to be huge and probably just an incredible accomplishment to beat the current world champions. But if GB wins or if GB beats us soundly, it's just like when we didn't do well in Speedway of Nations last year. You get disappointed in the moment, but you just gotta come and regroup with the intention of always doing better.
And there's just actually this evening been a post put out on the Facebook page as well about the sponsorship packages and the stuff how people can get involved. What is the bigger picture for this, with all of that?
Well, glad you're asking. This truly is just to cut the niceties out of it. This is truly my Speedway leap of faith. We're putting on an event that defies the laws of physics and defies, the general American Speedway event overhead. So first and foremost thing is we really need and want a big on the day crowd. There is streaming, the BSN will stream it, and naturally, if you live on the other side of the country or, yeah, watch the stream. But really, this is one of those things where, if you've got to drive 3 hours to come and watch the race, it benefits the event 100 times more by having you live and in the track than watching it on the screen. Plus, at the end of the day, there's nothing like being there at the track. So when it comes down to it, it really needs X amount of people to show up, X amount of sponsors and donors, people buying t-shirts and merchandise, which you can do at or before the event, or worst case, buying the stream, or hopefully all of the above or some combination. And that's what's going to make the event a success. We don't have a big kind of corporate safety net of some business saying, here's $30,000 to play with and invest in American Speedway, go put on an event. We don't have a big national brand behind it. And with the size of American Speedway now, until we do more events like this, we're not going to have big national brands behind us. So this is truly an event kind of forwarded by myself and my team, but it's really something that is for all of American Speedway to embrace. And if it's a success, it'll just lead to more international speedway in America. And if it's not a success, then maybe we just go back to mundane, mediocre, but more profitable events. It's just, at the end of the day, it's done on a wave of enthusiasm and passion and belief to grow the sport, but it has to add up in the bank to make it to be a future thing.
And I've obviously been involved along with the rest of the media team that you brought in. It really is a changing and a progressive period for USA Speedway as well. I know you're flying, you got most of the media team coming out apart from me. It really is a big thing that, this is really a be all or end all kind of situation for you.
Yeah, American Speedway is, it's at a crossroads where it kind of does need to decide whether it wants to be a fun amateur sport in America or whether it wants to truly become an international juggernaut again. And there's enough young riders, there's enough juniors, there's enough people now investing in Europe and the future that own bikes, own equipment in Europe to give us hope that we could be an international force again. But ultimately, we're part of a worldwide sport, and American Speedway as its own entity is an awesome thing. The quality of racing, the closeness of racing, the entertainment that you see at any of the American tracks, East Coast, West Coast, is incredible. And every American promoter is putting their shoulder to the wheel to make their racetrack happen and to really keep Speedway alive. But we are part of an international sport that really I feel we need to have more connection with. And that's really the theme of this race. We could have done another USA World race. It would have been fun. It would have had a much lower overhead than bringing an entire national team. But we want to do events that really more replicate proper, serious international competition. And this could be a stepping stone to bigger and better things if it's a success.
And you've obviously got names in the American team, Billy Gennaro, Gino, Brock, Luke, Max, that people know. And then you've got young up and comers like Alex and Slater as well. And with it being on BSN, the world can see them race, British promoters and other promoters where, because British Speedway used to have a lot of American riders in it, your Greg Hancocks and people like that, and it's kind of faded out a little bit. Brock was over here for a while and Gino, and now Luke's the only one left. So is it about getting the American boys back onto more competitive stages?
100%. I mean, this is when I say a springboard for American Speedway, it's a springboard for now, but more importantly, a springboard for the future. There's going to be, aside from the main, I mean, first of all, it's a huge value event because you've got the 15 heat team match. Then you have a short individual competition with all the top riders after that. So there's going to be more races after the team match. And you're also going to have other Division One and junior races interspersed in the main program. And in these races, you're going to see the likes of Nick Holbein, Brady Landon, who are going to be our 250 SGP3 riders this year. You're going to see a kid, Riley Rearick, he's our SGP4 rider this year. And aside from the main focus of the meeting, we want these young kids, we want these junior riders to be a part of this meeting, to come out of it with their jaw hanging on the floor saying, I want to be a professional speedway rider and I want to be as good as these guys that were racing today. And of course, even this year, when you have to pick a 7-rider team, you're always going to have at least 2 or 3 more that don't make the team that might feel a bit aggrieved that are good enough to be on the team. I mean, I've got guys that aren't racing that are good enough to be on the team that just, you can't put 10 on the team when you've only got 7 spots. Same with any sport, same with football, same with baseball. You have a certain number of spots. But I'm hoping that the problem to select the team is only going to get more tougher and gets worse. I mean, like guys like Nick and Brady, they could be knocking on the door to be in the team this time next year. And that means one of the 7 that's in this year won't be in next year. We got Dylan Rummel, who's still recovering from injury. He would have made it tough because if Dylan was in, then one of the 7 wouldn't, or he wouldn't be in. So, it's the same with any team sport. It's competitive. It's like going to the Olympics, going to the World Cup. You're always trying to, you want the problem of having way too many qualified riders. Yet for us, it's nothing compared to what Poland has to go through every year for Speedway of Nations. They have to choose 3 out of like 3 million Polish riders or whatever they have these days that are all world class, So, and of course, too, we do want to use events like this to just blood in the international competition and mindset and prepare us for our various competitions this year, and hopefully get us into a point where we can do a better job than we did at Speedway of Nations last year because we've got all this potential coming through, but at the top end, we did slip down the world rankings. It is what it is. We're not trying to pretend it was a great night in Manchester. It was miserable. It was miserable all round, weather and our performance wasn't what it should be. But you can either just sit back and just go through the motions, or you can be proactive and try to make it better. And this event is about making American Speedway just an even better entity and spectacle than it is, for the benefit of all of American Speedway, for the benefit of all riders, all tracks, all promotions in the international program. Everybody should win from this.
And you touch on the events that are coming up this year. What does 2025 look like for USA on the international stage?
Well, we have three spots in the Grand Prix qualifiers. We have three spots in the SGP2 under 21. Alex and Slater are taking two of those. We have two spots in the 250 SGP3, which are going to go to Nick and Brady. We've got Riley Rearick in SGP4. We're hoping to get a second spot for that for another rider. So it's going to be pretty busy. Personally, I'm really happy that Speedway of Nations is at the end of the year because it gives the whole season to build up for who are the three riders who can make an impact. Who are the three riders that could get us to the final, or at least, or if not to the final, at least get us a better showing than last year. So we're moving up the rankings. And it's fair to say that some of the countries that used to be smaller or minor nations, like Ukraine and Norway, they're coming on strong because they've got good potential under 21 stars in the making already racing in Poland. And that's the competition. That's who we're going to have to work out how to beat to rise up those rankings. So every year it gets harder because I think the broadness and quality of teams is getting better, which is great for Speedway internationally.
And it's well documented with the stuff going on in LA at the moment. It's a really difficult time for California and people in America. Is this kind of a way where people can escape from the issues that are going on that are very well documented at the moment and just come and enjoy a bit of Speedway and just sort of put it out of mind for a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the fires has been occupying everyone's mind for over a week now. And when you see, I know people affected. My youngest kid had me run some clothes out to someone in her school who lost their home a few days ago. We just raided our house and gave them some stuff in their temporary accommodation. So it hasn't affected us personally because we're not in a fire zone, and LA is so big it's like a county. But particular areas, it's been rough, and it still is, and it's going to be rough for a while. And the the event in Bakersfield is about 90 miles north of any of that. And yeah, we certainly, I think at times like this, going and watching live sport, or just going out for a good meal, or seeing a show, it's kind of very therapeutic to raise the spirits after a crushing situation for the city. So we certainly feel for everyone affected, and have attention on it, but maybe the best we can do is to give them an opportunity to get a bit of temporary relief from everything.
And you've already touched on, you ideally want people trackside. So just to finish up on where can people get tickets and where can people get involved?
Yeah, we have a ticket link, which I'm sure we posted everywhere with this interview. You can buy tickets on the day at the track, but naturally, the whole point of pre-buying tickets is it's like going to a concert. There'll be an app where you download your tickets and you just scan and you're in. We hope we have a big crowd on the day. We're going to have extra staff to accommodate the ticket booth, but if you're in line with cash, you'll be in line with cash for as long as it will take. And because of TV coverage, the event will start on time. We're opening the gates super early, and we really encourage everyone to come out if you can at all make it. You're basically doing something for American Speedway by driving a few hours to a race. And honestly, the only way you could watch a race of this quality and this level of competition anywhere is to fly 10 hours across to Europe and watch a British League match or a Grand Prix or something. So, yeah, a few hours in the car, it's a bit of a distance to maybe a local track, but there's not anywhere else you're going to get a race like this in America this year, guaranteed. It's February 1st and it's a 1 p.m. start, and that's good for people traveling in, can leave in the morning and can go home same day. We do have special hotel rates. People can camp at the track in their motorhome or just camp for free Friday, Saturday night. There's practice on the Friday. You practice, we're selling pit passes for practice, so you can make a weekend of it and come and watch the practice session. On practice, you'll be able to get close up with the riders because there's no restrictions. On race day, obviously, there's going to be, you'll see it on the tickets, but there's different zones and areas that you'll get to view the event from. If you can at all come out, please make plans, because without people in the stands, it's all for nothing. We can, it's nice for us there, but we've got to at least see that this, it doesn't have to make, it can just cover its cost this year, but it's got to have potential for us to keep investing humongous amounts of time and energy into events like this.
You got GB this year. Who knows if it comes back? It could be a Poland or a Sweden or another big country as well. So the
Yep.
possibilities are endless if it's a success.
Yeah, we've already had a couple of tentative approaches from another country to come. Obviously, we'll see how it goes with this first country before we even want to invite anyone else to do this. And again, there's, maybe if we secured other venues or other promoters wanted to come on board, you could end up with a touring series, a USA versus Australia that goes to three different tracks. There's no reason why these things couldn't happen. And I think all of my promotional colleagues know that the door is always open to collaborate on stuff like this. We don't really intend to make this, kind of keep this to ourselves. It's there for everybody ultimately.
And the link will obviously be posted with this. Steve, I wish you
Yeah.
every success with this event, and hopefully people will turn out and we'll catch up after the event to discuss how how it was and the future and what goes next. But I wish you every success with it, and hopefully everyone's entertained by a good night of racing.
Oh, it's going to be amazing racing. So yeah, so get out to the track and support the event. And yeah, this is going to be one you'll be talking about 10 years from now, guaranteed.
Thanks very much for taking the time to speak to me, and yeah, all the best for the event.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Dylan.
Cheers.